and thank you to my fellow readers. I'm really honored to be reading with Abayu and Jody tonight. I'll say a little bit about the death spiral before I start. It's actually a phrase that you may be familiar with if you're familiar with bird mating rituals, but essentially it's a fitness test that's carried out among raptors, particularly eagles. Essentially, they lock talons midair to test the fitness of their mate, and they essentially fall downwards. Letting go, at the moment when they're close to reaching the pavement or the ground below them, and then flying off together. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes they actually fall to the ground. So you can think about it as like the ultimate first date. So this is an operating conceit in the manuscript about the sense of precarity that I was experiencing as a woman married to a queer immigrant living under Trump's regime. So this is the title of the manuscript. This is the death spiral. Suppose that to marry is to defy death, talon to talon, to promise to learn together the art of free falling as mutual deference. Suppose the law decrees your desire unruly, your body sylphs or outlaws, but call it sacrifice or symbiosis, you will be one. Suppose that, despite cartwheeling down an updraft of air to the upsurging details below, skyscraper, factory, tree, car, you study only the pale cream moons of her eyes, stricken below their hood, cincture of her wingspan, winds riffled, and the muscly clutch of her tendon-sounding blood. Suppose that just before pavement hits your skulls, there is the ripening of a moment, a toehold in grace, when you both untangle, roll out of your death dance, and fall upwards in thrall of sky, backdrop of brambles, scrim of treetops. Suppose catastrophes averted for the moment, but always you'll be on the cusp of it. She, the thermals, and the warming skies are all you can be sure of. You'll preen on the moon if you must. Okay, and the next poem is called Mammoth, Resurrected, and it's about the science of de-extinction. If you've ever heard of CRISPR, it's a technology that would allow us to edit the germline, to edit genetic sequences. And we have the technology right now, or we're close to having the technology to resurrect extinct species, and even to bring back endangered species. But considering the fact that we can't even support endangered lives now, to me, it doesn't seem like a very good idea to pursue this technology. So this is called Mammoth, Resurrected. Before my birth, father was more than fossil. Pickled in tundra, he still had his undercoat of grizzle, teeth, and a knee broken and folded in tighter than a jackknife. When they found him as perfect as the day the sinkhole swallowed him, they dreamed me up. Am I extinct? No, called back, claimed the minds that made me, coaxing DNA from father's bones and toying with mother's genome to invent a new sequence for me. Poached from another eon and implanted in her womb, swaying in time with her elephant strides, I grew from mother's coups and breakneck science. My tusk nubs scuffed her insides, outscaling her womb too soon and stretching her belly cruelly. And when I arrived late, I knew that mother, who scraped her tongue against my hump and raked her tongue through my wool, was mapping my flesh like ancestral lands. She tested the length of me, making touch memory. Entrusted with my soft spots and whimpers, baby dents and outdated ridges, she, with elephant tact, had no choice but to love me, more grand aunt than offspring, captor and taboo. I kept below the soft flaps of her breasts, and in the hungers of infancy, I drank in the millennial air, choked on the seepage of benzene, mercury, and the musk of men before my mouth found her teat. Okay, I'll just read a couple more. This is called The Mountaineer's Daughter. The mountaineer's daughter returned to the woods to be unmade. Her father went for the summit, she for the traversal across the forest floor and all that came with it. The quartz flecked trail, the soft belly of the stream slurping under her feet, the grooves impressed on boulders where glaciers screeched out a record of their passing. She went to find prehistoric gneiss and ferns still steadfast after all these years, and all the things of the earth that are knitted into the grammar of time. And she went to feel her humanness annihilated, even if for a while. In the early owl light, she searched for the source of the stream. She followed its amphibian undersong until night fell, and humming and waterlogged, she found it. Inside, she sensed her own timetable recording itself on her bones and hoped that someday another wanderer would find the curve of her spine, her long arms and splayed fingers, her worn gimbal joints at the hips, and know how far she journeyed to find herself, crouching at the cut bank with a colony of frogs, called back by the centripetal pull of an early memory of belly flopping in, hind limbs fully extended. Okay, and this last one is a wasp nest. I hear them in my dreams. Their wings beat at a frequency of sea, and out of spittle, wood, and song, they make a cathedral of paper mache. It grows each hour, a gothic fruit below the sweet birch, while they writhe in a fever of toil, laying comb upon comb, feeding their larvae, fine-tuning their hive, sounding their paean to female industry through the streets. When I approach, no, intrude, it is not pain that I crave, but something close to it. Her, the queen of meticulous care and fierce motherhood, whose madness is formalized and made into a fortress. I would be a pincushion to her stinger, but instead she clutches me as in a klimt. 6 little claws, 6 little legs. Pillars of wasps rise and fall away like gates when she comes. And when she coaxes me through, I will become her initiate, just as someday a hive of sleepers will pupate and rise from their combs, such formal cells, to form a new brood. There is venom here. I cannot forget it, but nothing reckless. There is pattern and her vision and life, a future in every nurtured crevice. Thank you so much for listening.